Welcome to New Sky TV Top of the Line. Even other artists in the same group don't receive this treatment, so why does Guo Yuxin only call Wang Haozhen this way? The truth is not simple. This time, it's not that netizens are over-interpreting, but the details speak for themselves. Wang Haozhen and Guo Yuxin to have something going on. In the entertainment industry, how you address someone is never a trivial matter. Especially between actors, the more careful they are with their boundaries, the easier it is to expose their true emotions. Guo Yuxin is always very proper. Her way of addressing her co-stars is almost template-like, either Teacher X, Old X, or simply their full name, clear, polite, and safe, never crossing the line. But with Wang Haozhen, everything changes. She doesn't call him Teacher Wang, nor Brother Haozhen, and doesn't even use his full name. What she calls him is an extremely natural, almost thoughtless two-word phrase, Haozhen. Note, it's Haozhen, not a deliberately intimate, ambiguous tone, nor a soft, coquettish voice, but a familiar, natural way of saying it, a tacit understanding of closeness, a presence that needs no explanation. Even more subtle is that, Wang Haozhen is clearly several years older than her. In an environment that values seniority and etiquette, such a form of address already crosses the line of ordinary collaboration. Even more intriguing is that when Guo Yuxin addresses others, there's often a certain sense of occasion. Her voice is steady, her tone even, as if she's completing a social task. But when she calls him Haozhen, her tone unconsciously relaxes, even becoming casual and conversational, as if calling a name that already exists in everyday life, rather than a partner in front of the camera. And Wang Haozhen? He never corrects her, nor does he avoid the topic. On the contrary, every time he hears this name, his reaction is incredibly genuine. His eyes immediately turn to her, his attention almost reflexively drawn to her. That kind of reaction isn't something that can be trained through professionalism. It's more like the body making a choice before reason. This is true off-screen, and even more so on-screen. The chemistry between the two far surpasses the level of smooth cooperation. Emotional progression is almost instantaneous, their eye contact like they've rehearsed countless lifetimes beforehand. Many viewers say that watching their scenes gives them a strange feeling. It's not like they're acting out a relationship, but rather like they've been accidentally caught on camera in the act of a real relationship. The most crucial point is that Guo Yuxin's different attitude towards Wang Haozhen is stable and consistent. It's not a fleeting moment of intimacy, but a consistent one across multiple occasions and situations. This consistency is precisely what's hardest to fake. So you're saying it's just a title? Of course not. In the entertainment industry, the more restrained a person is, the more telling it is when they break their rule. Perhaps they've never said anything, and they don't necessarily need to be defined. But one thing is certain, in Guo Yuxin's world, Wang Haozhen is definitely not someone else. And this difference is subtly written in every overlooked detail. The atmosphere on set of Meteor Shower, which had just wrapped filming, was actually much more complex than everyone imagined. It wasn't a lively farewell ceremony, but rather a sense of weightlessness, like emotions reaching their peak and then suddenly releasing. Wang Haozhen cried, and it wasn't just symbolic reddening of his eyes, it was a clear emotional collapse that he couldn't suppress. Everyone around him was stunned for a moment, but Guo Yuxin was the first to react, gently comforting him, patting his back to help him calm down. This scene wasn't deliberately captured by the camera, but it was clearly remembered by everyone present. Because that comfort was so natural that it didn't seem like polite conversation between colleagues, but more like an unconscious reaction from someone who was used to taking care of his emotions. Then things got even more intriguing. Just a few days after filming wrapped, a detail was quietly discovered, the same hand warmers. Not the unisex, universal type, but a distinctly cute, feminine style. Soft colors, clean patterns, clearly not the type Wang Haozhen would choose. Yet, he used them constantly on set, without any hesitation, as if it were his natural thing. Meanwhile, Guo Yuxin flew to the National Drama Awards. One was under the spotlight, the other remained on set. And the result? Wang Haozhen's entire demeanor visibly declined. It wasn't a sullen expression or a display of emotion, but an undeniable melancholy. He spoke less, smiled less, and after filming, he would sit blankly to the side, as if he had suddenly lost some kind of support. The staff whispered among themselves, "Why is he so quiet today?" The feeling, frankly, was very much like a breakup. Not in the drama, but in real life. Looking back at that hand warmer, things get even more interesting. If they were just ordinary colleagues, they would have avoided giving gifts long ago. If they were just friends, they wouldn't use them so intimately. Yet Wang Haozhen not only used them, but did so without any qualms. Guo Yuxin, on the other hand, never denied or explained, seemingly acknowledging that the matter didn't need to be discussed publicly. Many people began to realize that the relationship between these two was far more than just a pleasant collaboration. Even more remarkably, if they were really together, their respective fan groups were actually relieved. There was no mudslinging, no fighting, just a sense of finally, it makes sense. Because everyone had seen their on-screen chemistry and the off-screen details, they already knew this wasn't just baseless CP marketing, but a gradual, genuine affection. Some relationships don't need official announcements. Some feelings can't be hidden. Wang Haozhen and Guo Yuxin are probably the kind of couple, the more they try to be low-key, the more the details betray them. Someone found a behind-the-scenes clip from later episodes of Meteor Garden, where Wang Haozhen unconsciously put his hand in his pocket during a break, touched a hand warmer, and smiled slightly. It wasn't a forced smile for the camera, it was the kind of smile that came from a sudden realization, a gentle touch on an emotion. The next second, he looked up into the distance, as if confirming someone's presence. At that moment, the camera didn't focus on Guo Yuxin, but everyone understood, he was looking for someone else. Guo Yuxin, on the other hand, wasn't entirely indifferent. Backstage at the National Drama Awards, when asked about her recent situation, despite the seemingly official question, she paused for a second before answering, "Recently, my feelings are quite complicated, but also very grounded." This sentence has been repeatedly replayed by many. Complicated, yet grounded, it's like worry mixed with certainty. That state is so much like someone who is concerned about someone, yet also feels certain about that concern. Looking back at their past interactions, it's even more like a prearranged thread. Wang Haozhen has always been reserved, not easily revealing his emotions, even during high-pressure filming periods, he's used to processing them himself. But only in front of Guo Yuxin does he unconsciously lower his guard, listen quietly when she speaks, and actively adjust the atmosphere when she's down. That wasn't the male lead taking care of the female lead, but rather one person respecting the emotional weight of another. And Guo Yuxin's care for him was never ostentatious. She didn't try to steal the spotlight, nor was she clingy, yet she always appeared when he was most vulnerable, the comfort on the day filming wrapped, the tacit understanding when their schedules diverged, the hand warmer, a small thing that didn't need to be seen by anyone. True intimacy often doesn't need an audience, therefore, instead of waiting for an ambiguous answer, it's better to see the facts clearly. Emotions are never truly honest in words, but in actions. Wang Haozhen's emotional fluctuations and Guo Yuxin's meticulous care don't need to be magnified or interpreted, they speak for themselves. They didn't deliberately try to get closer, yet they gradually entered each other's lives. They didn't make grand gestures, yet they stood by each other when needed most. This kind of relationship is the most reassuring. It's not a fleeting, impulsive flirtation, but a choice made after the passage of time. Perhaps they are currently using work and busyness to mask their inner softness, but feelings can never be completely hidden. They appear in a comforting gesture, a small gift, or a moment of silent disappointment. If it's confirmed someday, people will probably just smile and say, "Oh, I see." Because all of this has been foreshadowed. Thank you for watching the video. See you in the next video. Thank you.